A couple of superheroes going head-to-head tonight. It's Batman versus the Joker. Hello, everyone, and welcome inside the Outback Steakhouse broadcast booth high above the ice at West Banco Arena. I'm DJ Bassell, set to bring you all the action as the Nailers take on the Fort Wayne Komets. Nailers in the Batman uniforms, gray with black numbers and letters on the backs and sleeves outlined in yellow. They go from left to right. Fort Wayne in purple with white numbers and letters on the backs and sleeves outlined in green. They go from right to left. Flip-flop those directions if you're watching along on WTRF, My Ohio Valley, and ECHL TV. Referee is the same one from Friday, Riley Yurkovich. Linesman Randy Dengler and Denny Urban. Yurkovich and Dengler both worked the game here Friday. Followed Utah up to Kalamazoo last night and back in downtown Wheeling today. So a very busy 3-3 for the officials and also for both teams, as this is 3-3 for both the Nailers and the Komets, who are both at home on Friday and on the road on Saturday night. Second of 8 head-to-head meetings between the Nailers and the Komets this season, 4 at home and 4 on the road. Komets took the opener 7-3. Nailers tip in, near side corner. Powell giving chase. Martin back in his own near corner. Hedano tips to himself around the backboards. Yushi, 14 points in 9 career games against Fort Wayne. Komets wedge it ahead. Alan Łyszczarczyk speeds up. Left side wrist shot up over top of the net. Simmers around, far side boards. Martin deflects back to center for Binkley. On the right side, St-Amant takes over towards the center circle. Drapes in near side, but he gave it away. Yushi Hedano steals, gets in, right circle to the slot. Powell couldn't set it down on his tape. Komets break back out. Łyszczarczyk through center ice. Poke checked at the line beautifully by his former teammate Marc-Olivier Duquette. Duquette started the year with Fort Wayne the first 4 games before being traded to the Nailers and joining them on October 26th. Brady Shaw tips out to center. He was assessed a match penalty last night for a hit to the head on Cody Milan, the younger brother of former Nailer Dan Milan. However, the league rescinded the automatic 1-game suspension that comes with it, so Shaw playing today. Droz coming in near side, bounces off a check. A floater from the blue line by Minerva is gloved wide of the net by Ferguson with 1 minute and 7 seconds gone in our first period in this scoreless game. Couple of affiliated goaltenders, NHL contracts. Alex Dorio with the Pittsburgh Penguins organization, and with the goalie pads looking almost like the logo, it's Dylan Ferguson from the Vegas Golden Knights organization. That's the affiliate for Fort Wayne, Vegas in the NHL, Chicago in the AHL. But if you look at their roster with the amount of players they have, as the Komets clear down in icing, as Duquette gets there ahead of Brad Ross, you'd almost wonder if Fort Wayne's an LA Kings affiliate in Ontario Reign, just because of how many players that they have from that organization. Draw coming back in Komets territory. Boy, those jersey numbers and nameplates are something else. It definitely fits the model of Joker for sure. Hawkins, the right side shot goes through Ferguson and off the post. Oh, Hawkins lit the Komets on fire during the preseason with 5 goals and 7 points. Then he had a 3-point game against them, the second game of the year. So they are very familiar with the work of number 7 in Batman. Near side, Morrison carrying it at the left circle. Good poke check at the last moment by Heath as it was forced away by Christopher Brown's pressure from behind. Butcher spilled by Brad Ross as it's dipped back into Fort Wayne territory. Phillips on the far side works his way through into Morrison's skates. He's shoved at the line. Nailor snag it free. Skidalski, far side of his own end, snapped over. Right side, Hedano carrying through. Touches down the boards. Around the back of the net, Petschenig wiggles it around for Gallipo. Near side, back and forth with Reichert. Gallipo onto the far side for Petschenig. Works it off the far wall. Reichert spills into Wheeling territory. Speeding onto it there is Haas, the defenseman who's playing forward tonight. Fort Wayne only with 8 regular forwards in their lineup. Haas, one of the defensemen, jumping up to fill that void to give them 3 forward lines. Nailers are the big absence tonight, Nick Saracino, although Nick might join us tonight during the second intermission of the broadcast. Tadano, left circle shot, breezed up into the near side corner. Grabbed by the Nailers, trying to force out to the line for Fort Wayne native Blake Siebenthaler. Backhand roller towards the slot, bounces off of Hedano, who crushes Haas. Powell, right circle, in with a wrist shot, off the outside of the right post. Simmered around to the far side. St-Amant takes there, behind the net for Petschenig, winds it across. Haas on the left side, Starting the breakout for Fort Wayne, a cross-corner dump in, back to retrieve there for the Nailers is Steve Johnson. Buzzes it around, near side corner. Siebenaler gives chase, takes the body. St-Amant is in there as well as Shaw for Fort Wayne. St-Amant twisted out to the left point for Martin, gives over right side. Binkley, wrist shot, stick save made by Dorio. Off the backboards, trying to jam in short side with Shaw, working on it behind the net. Comes out on the far side. Shaw to the point for Binkley, their team leader with a +9. Tip on goal by St-Amant, and Dorio makes the save. Nailers chip ahead, far side. Krastenbergs races it across. Johnson gets in, right side. Here comes Cam Brown, left circle shot. Save, rebound, and another stop made by Ferguson off of a couple chances from Brown and Johnson. Near side tangle for the puck. Comes out to the right point. Looking down the boards, Duquette to Droz, in the slot. Peels around with it, high in the zone. Touches off. Duquette, left point wrist shot blocked. Comes to Minerva, wrist shot save. Rebound jamming out of the Nailers. They can't still get it underneath from Ferguson. Doug Free, Droz, left circle shot. He scores! All sorts of madness around the crease, and it's Jan Droz who slips it in from the left circle, and the Nailers strike first to take a 1-0 lead at 3:52 of the opening stanza. Team leading 7th goal of the season for Droz, and we'll see about the assists.
His 7th goal of the season, scored by number 22, Jan Droz. Assisted by number 12, Renars Krastenbergs. At number 4, Nick Minerva.
So that's the first ECHL point for Nick Minerva with the secondary assist. Brandon Hawkins, right circle shot, gloved down by Ferguson. We get the stoppage with 4:21 gone in the first period. A 1-0 lead for the Nailers is Jan Droz, the 20-year-old from Slovenia, with his 7th goal of the season. Boy, he had some great numbers in his QMJHL career with Shawinigan. 21 goals and 62 points in 60 games last season, leading the Cataracts in scoring at over a point a game, and the former Penguin draft pick is certainly getting his pro career going on the right foot. Komets come in, Reichert puts it in off the end boards, comes sliding around, near side, trickles to the slot. Cam Heath takes there for the Nailers, winding his way behind the goal as he touches off for Skidalski. Loads it up from behind the net. Powell had it tipped away. Reichert has it trickle towards the line. Good body by Heath to force out to center ice. Bouncing puck back in Fort Wayne territory. Nailers had all sorts of shots going there against netminder Dylan Ferguson as the puck wobbles into the Fort Wayne bench with 5:03 gone by in our first period and a 1-0 Nailers lead. Shots already at 6-1 in favor of Wheeling as we get ready for an offensive zone face-off for the Nailers. It's to Ferguson's left. On the near side wall, Cam Brown, Jason Binkley battle for it. Dug free by Martin. Flips end over end and through. Łyszczarczyk speeding onto it. Left side looking middle. Tip on goal and a save made by Dorio. Siebenaler, far side, looking for Cam Brown. Martin gets in the way, and we have it whistled down on the far side. Not sure if it was a hand pass or what the call is. The linesman on the far side there just signaling towards the center circle. That linesman, Randy Dengler, was the one who called the face-off violation penalty on the Nailers on Friday night that ultimately led to Utah's tying goal. And a 2-1 Grizzlies come from behind win. No lead changes last night and a 1-0 overtime decision for the Royals. Nailers steal it. Far side Krastenberg's off the wall. Binkley swipes it back to Martin in his own slot. Hammered through a deflection into the far side corner. First one back there is Duquette, turning in the far corner for the Nailers in these gray Batman sweaters. Nailers come ahead with it. Throws on the far side. He's the wheeling goal scorer. Protects the puck. Washes it towards the middle of the ice. And it's taken free by the Komets. Working his way in. Łyszczarczyk tipped away. Duquette threads off the near side boards. Wide of the Fort Wayne net. And icing is waved off as Ferguson touches it aside. Komets skated ahead. Morrison on the right side, crisscrossing towards the middle. Broken up as it rolls into the near side corner. Gets up to the left point for Gottlieb. Long wrist shot tipped and it goes wide. Far side, they jam for it. Christopher Brown in the far side corner. Kicking at it, Ross as well. Morrison trying to snipe side of the net. Turning with it, Ross out of the far corner. Twisting with it, Morrison. Ross high in the zone. Shot on goal. Dorio stops and smothers. 6:28 gone by in the first period. Nailers a 1-0 lead on home ice. This is the Nailers Network. .28 has been played in our first period. Nailers with a 1-0 lead on home ice. Jan Droz with his 7th goal of the season, 12th point. Renars Krastenberg's assist 6 and point 10. Nick Minerva, first assist and point of the season and of his pro career. Brad Drobot dumps in down the near side, retrieved by Phillips, back behind the Komets net, working up across ice feed. Haas gets in on the left side, long wrist shot, flagging it down with the glove, reaching up to snare it is Alex Dorio with 6:44 gone in the first period. A 1-0 wheeling lead against the team who has the best goals per game average in the lead at 4.36 for Fort Wayne, and also the number 1 power play. So what's the best penalty kill today? Well, it's pretty simple. Just stay out of the box, which the Nailers have done a fabulous job of as of late. We talked with Mike Baylis about it in the pregame interview, and less than 10 penalty minutes, so less than 5 minors in 5 consecutive games. Łyszczarczyk kicked out of the draw, so Shaw will take it instead against Powell. And the Nailers have the face-off win. Duquette near side, looking for help to get it out from Powell. St-Amant steals inside the offensive blue line, battling his way down the wall, spins off a check. Powell tries to make a play along the near side boards, and it gets shimmied out the center. Gallipo takes on the left side. Shaw banks it back to Petschenig. Far side of his own end, gives it towards the middle of the ice. Shaw gallops his way through, in on the right side at the circle. A wrist shot save made by Dorio. Rebound, and they slip it through. Alan Łyszczarczyk gets the goal. Shaw came in, kind of an innocent shot on the right side. Dorio the stop, but the rebound came free, and Łyszczarczyk is able to snap it back in. Fort Wayne ties it up at 7:14 of the first. Łyszczarczyk, a very impressive rookie out of the Ontario Hockey League. 35 goals last year with Mississauga, plus 4 with Owen Sound for 39. And he has 5 in his first 12 games with Fort Wayne. Shaw will get the assist, the lead one at least, to give him a tie for the team lead with Sean Sidlowski with 17 points. And we'll see about a second helper. And now they're getting a bucket of snow from one of these Zamboni drivers out of the corner where the Nailers dressing room is, and looking like they're doing a little bit of repair work on the ice just outside of the near face-off circle in the Nailers defensive zone. Of course, it's a brand new ice sheet from Everything Ice in Johnstown that was installed right before the season, and it's been pretty well smooth sailing in the first. Now this is home game number 7, but a little bit of repair work done along the boards. This is not the end of the ice where they had to lift up the boards. That was done just a 2-inch lift on the north end of the building where Fort Wayne defends for 2 out of the 3 periods in this game. And that's why the Powerball Suite and the Generations Club and Beer Garden has that little bit of a new lightish gray platform there for some of the coils underneath, which lead to the playing surface. Comets have from center ice as we're back to action. Naylor steal it though, throws to the slot. One-timer, Krastenberg's off the left post. Now Siebenaller bombs away, saved by Ferguson.
Number 62, Olivier Galapos. Time for the goal.
So Shaw and Gallipo getting the assists on the Łyszczarczyk marker at 7:14. Face-off coming up to Ferguson's left. Nailers win the draw, all sorts of pressure from them. Near side tangle for the puck. Komets try to clear, but gloved down by Siebenaller. Banks it off of Gottlieb into the near side corner. Swirled around Phillips at the left point. Johnson has for the Nailers. Trying to go down the wall. Throws left circle. Takeaway. Looking deeper for Cam Brown. Couldn't get it to go. Krastenberg's hitting the post. He was scoreless last night for the first time in 8 games since getting back into the lineup and looking to make it points in 8 of 9, but unfortunately the Iron had other ideas. Reichert backhand after a dangle move from the left side. Save made. Dorio rebound. They scrape at it. Comes free to Morrison. Up to the left point. Martin looking with a wrist shot. Deflects in front. Goes toppling wide. Binkley from a ridiculous angle off the boards. Comes right back for a topper. Taken by Baylis, goes up over the net. Far side, Morrison trying to charge towards the middle. Krastenberg gets a stick on him. Morrison from the right point, dipped off to Binkley. Cycled behind the net for Reichert. Bodied into along the end boards by Johnson. Tyson Ross near side, stapled into by Droz. Backhands it ahead for Cam Brown. Dusts it off, then feeds Krastenberg on the left side. Hawkins breaking in. Right side shot, and he pelted it wide to the right. Heath cycles deep off the end boards. Hawkins gets a step on Martin. Gets there ahead of Haas. Near side for Christopher Brown. Winds it around. Hawkins stood up there. Brown trying to jam it out of the pile. Christopher shouldered down to the ice by Kyle Haas. They jam for it along the near side wall. Spooned out towards the line. Having to grab it on the defensive side of the blue was Heath. Gives over for Skidalski. 9 minutes gone first period. 1-1 Wheeling in Fort Wayne on a Sunday afternoon. These two teams seeing each other for the first of 4 times in the next 12 days. Skidalski sends a knuckler bouncing into the air. Eventually retrieved by Petschenig for the Komets. Petschenig from his own end. 4 in 12 days against Fort Wayne. It's the first of 11 straight against Central Division foes. Fort Wayne's goal scorer, Łyszczarczyk, has it poked, but Shaw takes over. His shot blocked by McNee. Angled around the end boards. Hawkins and Powell let it go. Shot blocker save made by Dorio as it goes floating up into the netting out of play. 10:28 left in the first period. Komets, I think, with 4 shots in a row here. If I'm watching the shot clock make that 5 in a row, as it's now 8-8. To go along with the 1-1 deadlock on the scoreboard. Łyszczarczyk, 5th of the year from Shaw and Gallipo at 7:14. Draw coming up to Dorio's left. Minerva behind the net for the Nailers, starting things up on the right side. Working it through, a tip in by Scarfo, wide of the net. Ferguson plates it aside for Petschenig, driven into the end wall. St-Amant takes over for the Komets, breaking ahead on the left side, crisscrossing towards the middle, slips in on goal, and Dorio covers as he slides over towards his left. 9:51 gone in period 1, a 1-1 tie. Much different first period than when the Nailers were there, when the Komets put a big 5 on the board. As the faceoff comes to Dorio's left. Nailers will be in Fort Wayne on Saturday and on Thanksgiving. Komets are here on Thanksgiving Eve. Nailers' next home game, though, is Tuesday. The morning game, Education Day, against the Cincinnati Cyclones at 10:45. Krastenberg tips off to Droz. Up the middle, slanting left. Drops off. Krastenberg's left circle shot. And it gets deflected up and into the netting just above the glass. Behind the Fort Wayne defensive goal with 9:55 remaining in our first period. Last year's season series between these two clubs was bonkers, as it was 4-4, but it was goals galore. I'm going to bring up the exact number here in just a second as the Komets work it towards center ice. Nailers dish back in. As retrieving it for the Komets is Phillips. He's crunched into. Wheeling throws, kicking it around near side, looking towards the corner. As it's worked back out to center. Siebenaller dragging in on the right side. 1 assist in his 3 career games against the Komets. As it's played behind the net, Butcher battles with Gottlieb and reaching out to cover up is Ferguson. 71 goals combined in the 8-game season series between Wheeling and Fort Wayne last year. So quick math tells you that they were 1 away from averaging 9 goals combined per game. And when you look at it and see, well, Fort Wayne's number 1 in goals for and number 21 in goals against in the league, I guess they play a lot of those types of games. And you look at their weekend, they won 7-2 on Friday, so there's the goals for. They lost 5-0 last night, so 7 goals for, 7 goals against in 2 games. There you have it. Alec Butcher carrying in, left side circle, rolls it through Binkley, trying to get towards the net, but Martin got in the way. Butcher has it behind the goal, frees it up on the far side. They look to the point. Cameron Heath with a drive off of Butcher and wide. Christopher Brown digs out of the left corner to the point. Heath hammers it around the end boards. Reichert a good read as the Nailers were trying to get it around for Hawkins, but Reichert got in the way. Spooned out to center, Skidalski attacks off the near side boards. Komets steal. Haas can't get it very far. Skidalski rips it across his own blue line, and Heath takes there. Ahead, speeding forward is Miles Powell. Gets in, left circle, fighting towards the net. Powell around the back of the goal, comes up on the right side, working his way back to the point. Powell looking towards net, jams on the break, stop in the left circle, feeds Minerva, coming in right side, shot save made by Ferguson. Nailers better get back defensively. Komets don't make a clean pass though, and that allows Duquette to get on his horse and grab the loose puck in his own end. Duquette starting ahead, long stretch pass. He was looking for Scarfo, does not connect, and it's icing on the Nailers with 8:08 left to go in the first period in a 1-1 tie between Wheeling and Fort Wayne. Nick Minerva getting that assist on the throws goal and having some good offensive confidence trying to create there. And I like that thought, but you got to make sure also on the forward side that one of the guys gets back and helps out because the Komets were ready as soon as Ferguson made that save. They had their mind made up on going the other way quickly. Herano to Powell, middle of his own blue line, threads it right side for Scarfo. Dangling with it, left side of center, chipping in, far side corner. Petschenig, first one back there, swipes it around. Powell centering pass the backhand, ramps up near side, retrieved there by Morrison for Fort Wayne. Morrison slides it around, comes through middle of the ice on the right side, leaving off. Hard shot from Ross, goes up over top of the net. That was Brad Ross, I do believe. They're 61 and 81. Herano, big drive, right side, off the back corner glass. Johnson overskates it at the point. Morrison hustles down, right side. Look at the speed from him. Jams on the break, swills it out in front, poked it on goal by Taylor Ross. Make that Brad Ross. And a right pad save made by Dorio with 7:23 left to go in the first period. And a 1-1 tie between the Nailers and the Komets. Throws entered the game 12th in rookie scoring with 11 points, so he's starting to climb up. I feel like the Nailers have somebody, minimum one person in the rookie leaders just about every year. That's just the way they do it. They get strong rookie contributions here in Wheeling. Now the Komets also have some strong rookies, as we talked about their goal scorer Łyszczarczyk as well. And I think that's a little bit different from what you've typically known for Fort Wayne. They love their veteran players, and they have some of those in Sidlowski and Jenks. But one of the things I appreciate about what head coach Ben Boudreau has done, as he's found some really nice young players on this club. A trip in the far side corner as a Nailer takes down a Komet, and Wheeling is going to be dinged for the first minor of the night. It's going to be a trip on Renars Krastenbergs. 13:03 is the time. And the Nailers go to the Green Acres Power Sports penalty kill. The Nailers turn to Green Acres when they need extra power. Draw coming up to Dorio's right. Fort Wayne, 27.5%, number one in the ECHL. It's flung off the near side boards and nearly got Christopher Brown for a break. St-Amant carries in, but it's offside. Nailers penalty kill ranking 14th in the ECHL, and As we mentioned, not a lot of opportunities to PK in the last few games, but last night a 3-for-3 performance in Reading, 1-for-2 here Friday against Utah. Siebenthaler takes in his own end on the right side. Butcher lost his stick. Brown tips in the clear by Siebenthaler and then crashes Gallipo into the side wall. Butcher right circle shot, fought off by Ferguson. Komets have allowed 2 short-handed goals this season. Nailers have scored 1. That was Steve Johnson in Toledo. Shaw, drop pass, left side circle. Łyszczarczyk fighting it into the corner against the end boards. Shaw battling his way through on the far side. Dropped to the ice by Johnson at the right point. Gallipo sends a flutterer. Glove down by Brown. Maybe a 2-on-1. Brown hurrying up with Butcher right side. Returns it for Powell, and it's just out of his reach. Komets get back defensively, and they do so without a penalty. Head coach Mike Baylis gets up on the top of the bench to give a little bit of an earful to the referee. Now, he was very consistent in not calling a lot on Friday night, so you got to figure that's probably going to be the case again today. 57 left on the kill, 5:53 to go, first period, 1-1. Carrying in Morrison down on the left side, working it deep. It's swiped around the end boards by the Komets. Scarfo hustling after it, gets past his man. Chasing back for the Komets is Gottlieb. And Scarfo putting all sorts of heat on him, trying to free it up. Had Cam Brown with them, but it's Gottlieb taking free for Fort Wayne on the offensive attack. Ross dumps it wide of the net, looking both ways, and then shuffling it around is Minerva, who gets the clear for the Nailers now with 28 to go on their kill. Marcus Phillips back for the Komets, riding things up on the right side, working towards the middle of the D zone, looking for that lane. Dumps in around the dasher, whizzes around far side. Taylor Ross down to Reichert, tight angle shot. Dorio with the stick save, and he traps it against the left leg pad to keep it out. With 12 seconds left on the Krastenbergs minor and 5:09 to go in our first period of a 1-1 deadlock as the Nailers get ready for a defensive zone draw. Christopher Brown leaning in against Reichert. Not anymore because Reichert will be sent to the side and Taylor Ross will take it instead. Komets sweep out to the point. Binkley down the boards. Reichert outer edge of the right circle on goal. Save Dorio. Rebound. Haas jamming at it. Goes behind the net. Johnson pinning it against the end boards. Jams it out for Siebenthaler. Nailers started ahead as they killed a penalty. 1-for-1. Alec Butcher down the right side. Steaming towards the middle. Tries to make a play into the far circle. Doesn't connect. Alec gets it himself though. Driving towards the net. Forced wide by Binkley. Slid up to the left point. Johnson plenty of time to corral it in. Goes D-to-D. Siebenthaler into the slot. Butcher. Whoa! Turning with it. I would have liked to have seen him just go to the net there and shoot it. But he was unselfish looking for a teammate on the left side. Sometimes you overthink it a little bit. Near side corner, grabbed by Butcher for the Nailers, who had a great end to his rookie year last year as he came in right at the midway point of the season and had 12 goals in 36 games. 3 thus far this year for the Anchorage, Alaska native. They're probably still almost eating, well, it's just about lunchtime there, right? 4 hours difference, so noon, 12:30. I was going to say breakfast first. The Butcher family will really have to get the alarm clock going on Tuesday when we're at 10:45 here. That'll be, what, 6:45 Alaskan? Throws near side. Hawkins in. Right circle to the middle. Throws dangling towards the net. Poke checked away. And Gallipo gets it away from Hawkins. Gallipo racing back behind his net. Working things up on the left side as he cruises through the center circle. Now on the right side. Wrist shot. Glove save made by Dorio. 3:33 to go in the first. It's a 1-1 tie on the Nailers Broadcast Network. 3:33 left in the first period. A 1-1 tie between the Nailers and the Komets. Give a shout out to my good buddy Justin Cohn, who's turned in from Fort Wayne there. Beat writer. We'll see Justin in less than a week at Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. Near side, Hedano winds it up for Hawkins, getting in right side, looking down for Powell, turning in the right side circle, working his way up top. One-timer Minerva had it tip go wide. Near side corner, Hawkins jostling with Gottlieb. Taken away by Gottlieb, slings it across his own zone, and it's Brad Ross there for Fort Wayne. Off of Hawkins' leg, tumbles back to Minerva, right side of his own end. Looking forward, Hedano overskated it. Ross takes away on the left side. Rock gets it over in the air. Batted out of the air and taken on the far side by Baylis. He's crunched to the ice. Duquette wound behind the wheeling net. Going to chase his Minerva. Ross shoulders into him. Hedano off of Morrison's legs. Powell takes away. Morrison on the left side looking to the slot, and Ross puts it up over top of the net. Oh, sweet. They're both out there together on this one. Tyson centers it. Score! Morrison with an absolute snipe from low on the right side. Brad Morrison gives Fort Wayne a 2-1 lead with 2:36 left to go in the first. Man, that was a perfect setup, and Morrison just stepped in and smoked it up top. And Fort Wayne, after falling behind early, has battled back to lead 2-1. And this will be the 8th time in 13 games that there has been at least one lead change in a game involving wheeling. Komets dump in Dorio to the near side boards.
Season scored by number 17, Brad Morrison. Assisted by number 61, Taylor Ross. Time at the goal, 17:24 of the first period.
So Ross gets the only assist. Whoa, Reichert just wiped himself out behind the net. And it's taken free by Wheeling. Throws, hammers it, far side. Skating up is Cam Brown. Runs into Binkley's wall. St-Amant, far side corner, as it's wiggled around for Martin. So Taylor Ross and Brad Ross are playing together on that last shift and ultimately led to a goal. Far side, St-Amant turning with it, looking back towards the point. Butcher knocks it free from Shaw on the far side as it's worked in. And Petschenig slides it over for Gallipo. Boy, that had to be a fun line out there. You had two guys with the first name Brad, two guys with the last name of Ross. You got one guy who probably who goes by either or. So trying to get those guys separated is a little bit of a task. With the Nailers, you have Cam Brown and Christopher Brown, and they both play center. So usually when you call the lines out there, you call it by the guy's name. But the Nailers have to use Brownie for Cam and CB for Christopher. As Butcher takes free for Wheeling on the right side, pushes down the wall, he gets sandwiched by a couple of Komets. Near side, Christopher Brown backhands hard up the wall. Komet steals St-Amant, but good persistence by Brown to stick with it. Skadalski bangs it off the far side boards. Scarfo getting in left side, trying to sidestep. Gallipo goes in tight with a shot. Ferguson makes the save. Bought behind the net. They look to center for Powell on his backhand. Works to the left side wall. Has it against the boards. Shimmies it deep. Hedano left side for Scarfo in the slot. It bounced over his stick. Duquette right side backhander. Didn't get much on it. And it's Brad Ross taking away. Morrison looking towards the middle of the ice. Nailers have it crash around. Morrison back into the slot. Tip on goal. Save made. Rebound score. Stephen Baylis on the rebound. And a big last minute goal for Fort Wayne. 3-1 for the visitors with 31 and a half seconds left in the first. As Fort Wayne has really stormed back in the latter part of the period. Nailers started with a 1-0 lead in goals and a 6-1 lead in shots. Since then, the Komets have scored 3 while out shooting the Nailers 14-5. Nailers tip in near side corner.
Goal of the season scored by number 20, Stephen Baylis. Assisted by number 81, Brad Ross, and number 17, Brad Morrison.
Komets dig it out of the near side corner. Gottlieb skating towards center ice, swashing it towards the zone. Nailers block in front of their own bench. Bodies collide. Siebenaller on the right side. Backhands it over for Johnston, and that'll bleed the clock on the first period that started really well for the Nailers. They had a goal. They had a lot of shots, but Fort Wayne comes roaring back. And the team that has been ridiculous during the first period, the Fort Wayne Komets, are now plus 13 in the first period. They have outscored the opposition 28 to 15. 28 first period goals in what is game number 15 for the Komets. They are averaging almost 2 goals per first period played. That's exactly how you want to start. Nailers' best period's been the second. Komets' worst period's been the second. Hopefully that continues to be true here today, but we'll find out in 18 minutes. First, it's the intermission report, which comes your way with the recap of the first period, calendar update, and out-of-town scores. This is the Nailers Broadcast Network. Between periods 1 and 2 here at Westbanco Arena, and what was a promising start for the Nailers turned for the worse in that first period. Still 2 periods to try and regroup from this one, but it's a 3-1 lead for the visiting Fort Wayne Komets as we start things off with the McClure Hotel period recap. And the Nailers, who had been snake-bitten just 1 goal on 67 shots all weekend, had put tons of pressure on Utah's Brad Barone and Reading's Kirill Ustamenko, and they had been scoreless for 119 minutes, 35 seconds straight heading into this game. But it takes 3 minutes and 52 seconds to get on the scoreboard today. Put tons of pressure on in the opening minutes. Dylan Ferguson, the Komets goaltender, was under siege early. 6 quick shots by the Nailers, and ultimately the 6th one finds the back of the net. Swiped in from the left circle into the bottom right corner of the net by Jan Droz. Jan's team-leading 7th of the season. Renars Krastenbergs and Nick Minerva with the assists on that. 3:52 the time, the first pro point for Minerva. with that secondary assist. Back come the Komets go. They tie it up at the 7:14 mark. Brad Shaw, not really a hard shot, just kind of an awkward one, I guess, as Alex Dorio, unable to catch it, made the save on it, but dropped the rebound free, and that was tucked in by Alan Łyszczarczyk. Łyszczarczyk gets his 5th of the year. The assists go to Brad Shaw, and they've changed it. It's now Will Petschenig that gets the second helper at 7:14 to make it a 1-1 deadlock. And then the last few minutes of the period, Fort Wayne takes the lead and gets some insurance. First, they get the go-ahead goal as the play was made out of the corner by Taylor Ross, backhanding it to Brad Morrison, who got a pretty hard one-timer off from below the right circle, and he chiseled it to the top left corner of the net as Morrison, a gifted player, gets his 3rd goal and 8th point in 8 games with the Komets. He's an LA Kings organizational guy with the Kings in the Ontario Reign. Morrison's 3rd goal assisted by Taylor Ross at 17:24 to make it 2-1. And then the 3rd goal was a rebound goal again for the Komets as the puck was put on goal by Brad Ross. The save was made, but the rebound comes out on the right side, and it's popped home by Stephen Baylis. Baylis with his 1st goal of the season. Brad Ross and Brad Morrison get the assists on that, and it is his 1st ECHL goal, and most likely his 1st pro goal. He's an LA Kings guy, so we'll have to look at that in the Hockey DB page. But Baylis gets his 1st goal as Comet from Brad Ross and Brad Morrison at 19:28. A very painful one for the Nailers, who find themselves down by 2 at 3-1. Komets had the lone power play of the period, but the Nailers penalty kill did its job, kept them off the board. So Fort Wayne 0 for 1, Nailers 0 for 0. Shots on goal in the first, big for the Komets, especially late, and it's 15-11 in favor of Fort Wayne. Intermission coverage continues with our calendar update. Coming up next, we'll talk about Education Day and some other home games to look forward to. This is the Nailers Broadcast Network. 3-1 Fort Wayne is your score at the end of one. Their lone goal for Wheeling belongs to Yandros. The Komets have theirs from Alan Łyszczarczyk, Brad Morrison, and Stephen Baylis. Time to look ahead, our calendar update, and the Nailers, it's going to be a quick turnaround for the 4 in 4.5 as they will be right back here on home ice on Tuesday morning for a 10:45 face-off against the Cincinnati Cyclones. It's our first of two Education Day games, so we'll have all sorts of local kids from the schools in the Ohio Valley coming to join us for Education Day on Tuesday, 10:45 against the Cincinnati Cyclones. Nailers will spend the rest of next weekend on the road as they have all of the Christmas parades and all that good stuff in downtown Wheeling next weekend. So the Nailers will play on Friday in Indy at 7:35, and then on Saturday at Fort Wayne, also a 7:35 face-off. Nailers' next home game after that will be Thanksgiving Eve, which is going to be Wednesday, November 27th, a 7:05 game against the Fort Wayne Komets. They go to Fort Wayne on Thanksgiving itself, Thursday, November 28th at 7:35. Some exciting promotions coming up on a couple of Saturdays. Saturday, November 30th is NailerCon, as you'll be able to meet the Pittsburgh Knights. There will also be a Mario Kart tournament taking place right here at Westbanco Arena. Then on Saturday, December 7th, it is Be Our Neighbor Night. It's like a Mr. Rogers neighborhood type of game. Nailers will be wearing special jerseys designed like Mr. Rogers cardigan sweater. It will also be our teddy bear toss game, so bring a new or gently used stuffed animal, throw it on the ice when the Nailers score their first goal. Faith and Family is that night too. Great work by our team chaplain, Gary Piganell. And also with the Mr. Rogers and Be Our Neighbor theme, you can visit Mr. Rogers' neighborhood in the main concourse of Westbanco Arena. Daniel Tiger and Daniel Tiger's neighborhood will also be in Westbanco Arena. That will be towards the back of the building, so a couple of really neat spots for you to check out when you're at the game on Saturday, December 7th, when the Nailers take on our less than friendly neighbors, the Kalamazoo Wings, at 7:05. And if you're looking for a great deal for either Mr. or the Be Our Neighbor Night or for NailerCon, we have a Saturday package specially for you. It's our Friends and Family 4-pack. 4 tickets. It could be your friend. It could be your family. It could be your worst enemy. Just get 4 of you and come down to Westbanco Arena. You get 4 tickets for Tito's Sloppy Dogs. Those things are incredible. And also a $10 voucher to the Nailers team store for $52. So again, 4 tickets for Tito's Sloppy Dogs and $10 to the team store for $52 for any Saturday home game this year. November 30th, NailerCon, and December 7th, Be Our Neighbor, are the next 2 that you can take advantage of that. For all your ticketing needs, go to wheelingnailers.com or call our office, 304-234-GOAL. That's 304-234-4625. 3-1 Fort Wayne is your score after 1. Main Street Bank out-of-town scoreboard comes your way next. The affiliates are off today after some big wins last night. Boy, the Penguins, I think, warming up Mike Babcock's seat for the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. You got to figure they're not too happy up there in Ontario's capital city. This is the Nailers Broadcast Network. second period in a couple of minutes. Nailers trailing Komets 3-1. Let's go around the Main Street Bank out-of-town scoreboard. And Brampton puts a hurting on Worcester today. 8-3 is the final there. And Worcester is starting to struggle a little bit. 5 games under 500 at 4-9. There's another team, though, in the league that's struggling worse. I'll tell you about them in a minute. But first, the Atlanta Gladiators, one of the South Division teams helping out the Wheeling Nailers in the Central Division this weekend, as Atlanta holds off Indy 4-3. Joel Messner breaking a 3-3 tie with just over 10 minutes left in the third. So Indy remaining tied with Wheeling and Kalamazoo, all three with 12 points for that fourth and final playoff spot in the Central Division. Florida rolls out to a 3-0 lead over Greenville. That's early in the third period. Two teams that are going in complete opposite directions. The South Carolina Stingrays have 10 wins. The Norfolk Admirals already have 10 losses. Keep in mind, it's just game 13 for the Nailers tonight. Stingrays 10-1, Admirals 2-10-3, and it's 3-0 for South Carolina at the start of the third. The Stingrays are as stingy as they come when it comes to defense. At 5:05, the last game of the night will begin, and that is a couple of strong teams in the Mountain Division. Idaho visiting Allen. The affiliates are off today. Wilkes-Barre Scranton riding a 5-game winning streak to climb into second place in the division. 2 goals allowed in 3 wins this week against Hershey, Springfield, and Lehigh Valley. They go to Springfield on Friday night for their next game. Pittsburgh rocked Toronto's boat 6-1 last night. They will host the New York Islanders on Tuesday. The Islanders are 13-0-1 in their last 14 games after starting the season at 1-3. There are 2 NHL games tonight, 7 o'clock for both. Calgary is in Vegas, and Buffalo travels to Chicago. Nailers will go from right to left in this second period. Komets from left to right. Flip-flop those directions if you're watching along on WTRF My Ohio Valley. Nailers trying to bounce back after a tough ending to the first, giving up 3 straight goals. Tie up near side. Komets. Martin swipes it around the end boards. Shaw tipping towards center ice. Siebenthaler backed up, had to retrieve in the neutral zone. Near side, trying to spray himself in was Hirano. Got upended or he lost an edge. Not sure which one. Might be the latter. Łyszczarczyk tipping in near side corner. Fiddled around the end boards. Powell around far side. Hirano giving chase backhand, swirling it through center. Gives off for Johnson. Gets in left side. Bottom of the circle. Wrist shot. And a save made by Ferguson, who got it between the leg pads. Looked around himself after holding on to the shot with 35 seconds gone in our second period. And a 3-1 lead for the Komets. See if Nailers captain Nick Saraceno makes his way up to the Outback Steakhouse broadcast booth to join me for the second. He was kicking around the idea before the game. We'll hear from Fort Wayne forward A.J. Jenks during the second intermission. In his 10th pro season, 10-year anniversary of him winning a gold medal with Team USA in the 2010 World Junior Championships. That was the year John Carlson scored in overtime in Canada. Probably the first year that I really watched the World Juniors as closely as I could. That was a blast. Minerva, far side, Cam Brown chipping down the wall as he got crunched into by Gottlieb. Komets floated out towards center ice, gloved down by Duquette as he backhands over to Minerva, right side of his own end. Cam Brown taking towards the right side, banks off the far wall. Gottlieb picks up in his own end for Fort Wayne, dishes behind the net for Phillips, takes over on the right side, whips it ahead, and this goes down for icing on the Komets with 1:27 gone in our second period and a 3-1 Komets score. The players still follow the international competition pretty closely, and it's a lot of fun here because you have a nice mix of the U.S. and Canadian guys who are both obviously rooting for their nations. When I was watching it that year, I was in Lewiston in the Quebec League, so we pretty much had a bunch of Canadians on the team, and there were few and far Americans that were watching along. I think it was just my equipment manager and myself. Skadalski Skitters it ahead, far side, trying to whack out of the air, goes into the far corner, bounced around, Nailers, Butcher from a tight angle, can't get it to go from the left. Craig Skidalski has at the right point. Wrister looking for a tip was Christopher Brown, didn't connect, goes off the referee, preventing a carom. Komets slice it off the far side boards to center. Skidalski rides it ahead now back from Butcher. Skidalski starts it up left side, pounded in deep, and going off for a line change there was defenseman Cam Heath. Gallipo off the far side boards, tip in, Łyszczarczyk left side circle, going deep, and he gives to St-Amant, who banks it off of Dorio's blocker and in. Sean St-Amant, the two-time Kelly Cup champion with Colorado, and boy, this is a lengthy celebration as they hug each other all day long in the near side corner, finally come away, and it's a 4-1 Komet lead at the 2:18 mark of the second. That'll be the 6th goal of the year for St-Amant. Łyszczarczyk will get 1 assist, giving him a 2-point night. And the second should be Gallipo, I think. 4-1 Fort Wayne, who now has 11 goals against Wheeling in just over 4 periods of hockey this season. Not really sure I'm excited to see these guys 4 times in 12 days right now, but hey, the Nailers will figure it out. They're going to have to. You're going to have to get those division wins if you want to have a chance at dancing come April. Intentional offside on the Nailers will bring the draw across the way from the Fort Wayne bench. 2 guys rocking their Movember stashes. I saw them both before the game. They're 2 great guys. Ben Boudreau, the head coach, and Olivier Legault, the assistant coach. Olivier's got a Lewiston tie like I do.
Sean St-Amant, assisted by number 88, Alan Łyszczarczyk.
Herano busts in right side, tripped up, puck goes wide. Nailers look to center. Johnson couldn't get the shot off as Herano is down behind the net, and Dan Barker, Nailers athletic trainer, will go out and tend to his forward. Yushi gets up on his own, hunched over at the moment, and he will slowly get taken to the Nailers tunnel. Mike Bavis asking referee Riley Yurkovich what he saw, and looks like Yurkovich motioning something of how Herano went into the boards. It looked like he had his legs taken out from under him as he was sliding in behind the net. Nailers lost Nick Saraceno to an injury last night. Aaron Titcomb last Friday went down. Ryan Clunan still on the shelf also. Krastenbergs gets a step, right side backhander, forced away by Ferguson. Centering pass, oh, it was in Cam Brown's skates. Quick pass by Krastenbergs. Unfortunately, Brown couldn't quite get it on the tape. Gallipo off the near side boards. By the way, Łyszczarczyk was the lone assist on the St-Amant goal. Petschenig winds it around far side, clipped at by Krastenbergs. Petschenig golfs off the far boards, and Baylis plays it out to center. Minerva faked the big dump in, then got stapled into as the Komets wedge it away. In on the far side is Morrison, left side circle, tumbles it wide of the net as Dorio lets it go to the near side corner. Minerva takes over, rockets it across his own end. Duquette has to play the carom. Behind the net feed goes to Minerva with 3:45 gone in the second period, and the Komets have extended their lead to 4-1 on the road. Duquette camping out behind his net, looking for a passing option. Comes out with it, then feeds off to the left side. Banked off the wall, Christopher Brown trying to chug in with Butcher's help. Get tied up along the near side boards. Drobot helps it in deeper into the near side corner. Turning with it, Brown up to the point. Right side, teeing one up. Skidalski looking for a tip, but Brown had his stick tied up. Heath has it knocked away by Martin. Far side feed. Here comes Tyson Ross on the far side, jamming on the brakes. Backhand feed looking deep, and Christopher Brown got in the way. Ross on the far side has to go all the way back out to Martin, then he punches it into Ross's legs. Far side scooted up by Butcher. Martin kicks down at the left point, sends a hopper that looks like it's bouncing over mountaintops as it goes wide of the net. Butcher closed off in center as he has to turn and just whirl in deep. Binkley crunched in too hard by Scarfo. Near side St-Amant off the end boards. Hawkins looks to make a play. Binkley near side. Johnson at the left point in on goal. Save made. Scarfo tried to drag it to the backhand. Couldn't get it to go. Nailers nearly lost the handle, but they gather it back in center. Johnson, middle of his own slot, handling the biscuit. Ahead for Powell. Down the middle. Can't get in cleanly. Komets defend it well. St-Amant to Łyszczarczyk. Left side. Swipes it wide of the net. St-Amant towards the slot. It's loose in front of the goal. Nailers retrieve it. It's Johnson going 2-on-2. On the left side. Gets in. Trying to hustle down the boards. Johnson behind the net. Forced off by Phillips along the far side wall. And Łyszczarczyk takes over. Ahead comes Baylis. Gives off for Phillips. Right side shot. That goes wide. He got wiped out by Hawkins. Far side St-Amant. Down to the corner. Shaw bounces off one. St-Amant along the far side boards. Out to the left point. It's nudged into the slot. Łyszczarczyk for St-Amant. Left side. One-timer Gottlieb tumbles wide of the net. Gathered off the near side corner boards by Shaw towards the slot. Bounces over St-Amant's stick. Captured there by Scarfo, who wheels around with it. Dropping back. Far side circle. Siebenaler in the Batman sweater. Nailers wearing their alternate yellow helmets today as well to go with the yellow in the jerseys. Powell spoons it in. Far side corner. Droz first one on it. He opened the scoring back in the early stages of the first before the four straight from the Komets. Near side Phillips marching ahead. On the right side. James on the brakes looking towards the net. Sweeps it wide. Far side corner. Droz collides with Morrison. Trying to one-hand it up the wall was Cam Brown. Did so successfully. Krastenberg's maybe a 2-on-1. Right side. Hammers on the brakes. Give and go. Back with Droz. Goes go. Oh, no way. Oh, it did go in. He does score. Jan throws just barely over the goal line as Ferguson got a stick on it, but the Nailers get back on the board and make it a 4-2 score with 6:37 gone in the second. I'm shocked Ferguson got a piece of that, but the referee quick to point out it was indeed a goal and it did cross the line. Jan has two today.
Goal of the season. Second goal of the evening is scored by number 22, Jan Droz. Assisted by number 12, Renars Krastenbergs. And number 21, Cam Brown.
That one's ripped over top of the net by Butcher. Nailers in the offensive end. Butcher dragging towards the slot. Can't get off a backhander. Works to the left side. Pivots on Gallipo. Going down the wall looking for help from Christopher Brown. Christopher has it left side nudging deep. Drillbach goes off for the change as the Nailers cycle in the offensive end. Near side corner. Butcher along with Gallipo. Powell snags free on the left side. Scraping back towards the point. Delivers it back down for Butcher. Heath trying to work it towards the middle. Gallipo launches it across for Haas on the left side. Gets in with a wrist shot. Blocked as tumbling down on that was Cam Heath. Near side circle. It goes off of Reichert. Gathered up by Scarfo, who takes over for the Nailers. Far side Skidalski lifting it ahead. Wide of the net, icing waved off. Ferguson has to come play. Hawkins bats it out of midair along the far side. Dasher swirls towards the point behind Johnson. A good job sticking with it as the speedy Łyszczarczyk was trying to break. Hawkins right side dart. Save Ferguson. And then he tries to wiffle ball bat it out of the air. But ultimately it gets worked wide. Siebenaler steps in from the right point. Shot goes off of Shaw, and the Komets corral it out to center. Quickly looking to start back in. Scarfo, poke checked away. Brady Shaw has a breakaway, and Dorio uses his back to knock it up over top of the goal. That's creativity at its finest. Hey, whatever you got to do, just keep it out of there. Binkley winds up from behind his net. Shaw had it roll off his stick a little bit. It was rolling up Dorio's body up over his shoulder, and then he just kind of jumped and oof, back behind the goal. Nailers with numbers. Brown to Droz, returns it. Brown across. Minerva, he scores! and the Nailers pull within one with 8:56 gone in the second. It's 4-3. They're discussing it at the scorer's table. The net was off when the puck went in. But if the Komets knocked it off, it can be a good goal, and it should be a good goal. I'm going to get on my soapbox on that one all day long. Referee and linesman will look at it on review on the iPad. Like I said, this is an interesting scenario. Was the net off before it went in? Absolutely it was. But, like I said, can it still count when it's the opposing team pushing that net off? Yes, it can. So you dissect that how you wish. And we'll see how the officials see it as well. If this is a goal for the Nailers, it becomes a one-goal game with a long way to go. And it would be 2 goals in 1 minute and 19. We get the replay on the board up top. Yeah, the Fort Wayne Comet goes diving in and just knocks into the right post. So if you're not going to give it a goal, you got to give it a penalty, I would think, right? Because you can't just go diving back and knock a net off. Bingo. Komets getting the explanation. It's the continuance. Because if you wipe that off the board, then teams are going to knock the net off whenever they feel like it. Binkley receiving the explanation. And it's Nick Minerva's first ECHL goal. It makes it a 4-3 score. And the Nailers, after fighting through that Fort Wayne surge, now getting some life back into it. And if they can get the next one, they'll pull even. Off the draw, Krastenberg's racing in, right side, fans on it, throws, takes over, right side circle, out to the point for Johnson, handles it, far circle, Stephen Alleris, shot save, Ferguson.
21, Cam Brown. And number 22, Jan
Brown and throws with the helper, Stephen Eller, one-time drive, missed wide to the left. Johnson from the left point, down to Cam Brown, into the near corner, throws looking to the slot, poked away by the Komets. Baylis on the far side, or Baylis rather, sorry. Gottlieb wrists it through, Siebenthaler for Johnson, left side of his own zone. Siebenthaler in the middle, cranks it ahead, trying to break through with the Nailers, but it's poked away at the line. Morrison rushing back for Fort Wayne, dangles on Siebenthaler, left side, high in the zone, forces the wall. Siebenthaler pokes free, Butcher gloves down, gets in right side. Nailers with numbers, Hawkins tried to go middle, shut off by Gallipo, as sledding into the end boards was Gallipo. Here comes Morrison crisscrossing at the line, but it's offside. 9:59 left in the second, 4-3 Fort Wayne on the Nailers Broadcast Network. 9:59 left to go, second period, 4-3 Komets in the lead. Face-off coming in front of the Fort Wayne bench. A high offensive game, like I mentioned earlier, 71 in 8 games between these two last year, and now 17 in 1.5 this year. Holy smokes. Might as well make sure that the red light is its batteries and everything fixed and ready to go when these two teams meet up. We're going to see a lot of goals in the next 2 weeks. Butcher into the slot. Hawkins right side, twirls it towards the slot. It goes pinning back towards the Nailers zone. Skidalski fetching there. Wrists it far side. Hawkins tries to rake it across. Broken up in the center circle, but it's stolen by the Nailers. Right circle, Hawkins wrist shot off the outside of it off a feed from Butcher. Heath along the wall. Tries to pepper it through. It gets blasted back on the bench side. Tyson Ross getting back though is Minerva. A goal and an assist. The first both of his ECHL careers today for Minerva. Nailers try and spike it through. In comes Yush. Right circle shot. Make that Powell with the shot. And it goes spinning off a stick and out of play with 9:08 left in the second period. 4-3 Komets in the lead on the road. Both these teams have had great success at home, but not so much on the road to start the season. Draw coming up to Ferguson's left. Herano, good to see him back out there after crashing into the end boards on a previous play this period. Bunts it out of the air as it's gathered up by Binkley. Across his own zone from Martin on the right side. Sauces it deep. Icing coming up as the Nailers get back there with 8:54 left in this second period. So for the Komets, it was St-Amant 6th from Łyszczarczyk at 2:18. Then for the Nailers, Droz just barely over the line. Second of the game, 8th of the year, 13th point. Krastenberg's assist 7 and point 11. And that's in 9 games for Wheeling, so that's a great start to the year for him. Cam Brown assist 8 and point 12. That was at 6:37. At the left point, Duquette on goal. Whacked out of the air by Ferguson after he stopped it in the gut. Martin, poke check by Powell, but he still gathers in. Far side, sweeping his way through. They give to Binkley. Right circle wrist shot. Gloved away by Dorio. Rebound had to be swatted away by Duquette. High in the zone, Martin straight away. Far circle is Łyszczarczyk, wide of the net. Comes swiveling around near side for Binkley. Getting knocked down in front with St-Amant. He and Minerva have a friendly conversation. Probably wondering what their Thanksgiving plans are. But they know what they are because they're going to play each other next Thursday. Or 2 Thursdays from now. Near side, it's angled ahead. Powell, left side, trying to fight through for the Nailers. Binkley picks up inside his own zone. Martin on the left side, shuffling through. Big drive wide off the end board. Skitters around. Siebenaller takes there on the left side. Hammers it up on the far side. Herano has Brown joining him. Also Krastenbergs. He tried for the long one. I think the drop pass short would have been the preferred option there, though. And it goes angling back for icing on Fort Wayne. Second Nailer goal was Minerva's first, second point of the year. Cam Brown with assist 9 and point 13. And Jan Droz assist 6 and point 14 on the year at 8:56. Draw coming up to Ferguson's left. For Droz, that's his second 30-point game of the year. It's his 4th multi-point game of the year. Nailers one-timer off the right post by Cam Brown, who already has 4 multi-point games looking for a 5th. Around the end boards, it's swiped free by Wheeling. Throws, dangles, gets the shot off from the left side, and the save was made by Ferguson. Cam Brown from the trapezoid, feeding it front, throws, bangs it over, dangling shot by Krastenbergs, and trapping it between the leg pads was Ferguson with 7:23 left in the second period. And this 4-3 Fort Wayne lead. We have seen so many lead changes in the games played between these two teams over the years. It's been silly. Including last year in this building in March, the Nailers erased a 4-1 deficit in a 6-4 win. Gallipo, left side, throttles it around. Taylor Ross. Jeez, I'm crow. The Rosses are killing me. Minerva on the far side. As going deep with it, I'm thinking of the Padres pitcher, former Padre pitcher at the same time. Haas starts ahead, far side dumping for the Komets. Dorio has to go through him, near side. Duquette slings it ahead for Christopher Brown. Nailers rush it through. Hawkins, right side. Butcher tried to hold at the line, and the play goes in offside. And now, referee. One of the Nailers frustrated with the offsides call. I think it was Hawkins, and he rocketed the puck into the far corner. And the officials didn't really like that, so they told Brandon to go get it. See, it's funny. People will ask me what names give me the trouble. It's not the long ones. It's not the Łyszczarczyks of the world. It's not Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who's here on Tuesday with Cincinnati. It's names that are similar, like the Rosses. And I had Penny and Perry that gave me fits with Redding. Komets dump in, near side. As they juggle for it. Glove down by Heath. Hedano dangles Łyszczarczyk, trying to feed Heath back in. And the Nailers can't get possession. Binkley, far side. Martin has it tipped around. St-Amant hustling in, left side at the circle. Wrist shot, score! All that momentum the Nailers built back to within one, and St-Amant strikes one into the right side of the net. And the Komets go back up by 2. It's 5-3 with 6:09 left in the second. St-Amant with his second goal of the game and 7th of the year. 5-3 for Fort Wayne. Just a little shake to the middle, improve his angle, get Dorio moving, and pounds it right side. He's over a point-a-game guy. I feel like a lot of these Komets are, as a matter of fact. Nailers bump it around. Cam Brown, maybe a 2-on-1. Cam in the slot looking for throws. He was slow getting there, and he hauls down Baylis and gets a penalty for doing so. Let's get the call on the goal and then the timeout. Or maybe not. 5:55 left in the second. 5-3 Komets in the Nailers Broadcast Network. Jan Droz in the box for the Nailers, who go to a Green Acres Power Sports penalty kill. The Nailers turn to Green Acres when they need extra power. It's a hook on Droz at 14:05. Off the draw, Nailers collect it. Turning with it, Siebenaller. Let's get now the announcement on that goal.
Assisted by number 7, Bryson Martin, and number 10, Brady Shaw. Time to the goal.
Scarfo stick the puck out of the air, but then he spilled himself trying to do something with it. That would have been a cool chance to see shorthanded. St-Amant drops off. Gallipo with a straightaway wrister. Saved Dorio through traffic. Near side, St-Amant at the faceoff dot. Ripped over, wrist shot, glove save made by Dorio off of Brady Shaw. With 1:28 left on the Droz penalty. 5:23 remaining second period. St-Amant has both Fort Wayne goals this period, which right now make up the difference in the 5-3 score, sandwiched around a couple of close ones by the Nailers. As the faceoff comes to Dorio's right. Nailers attack it in the air, and it pounds down wide of the Fort Wayne net. Going back to play it is Gallipo. St-Amant taking over as he races up the left side. powering his way through as it goes deep, but Siebenthaler hacks it free. Ahead for Powell, one-on-one shorthanded against Gallipo. Powell dragging left side. Can't quite corral it to get a shot off. Johnson in the far side corner. Bumped off the puck by St-Amant. 54 to go on the kill. 4:48 remaining, second period. 5-3 for the visiting Komets. Dressed as the Joker tonight. Łyszczarczyk sprinting in. Left side drop pass. Nobody home. Christopher Brown takes away and flutters it out through center ice. Gallipo twisting around in his own zone as his teammates complete a line change. Gallipo swivels it ahead. In comes Baylis off for Phillips. Right circle shot. And a save made by Dorio with 26 seconds left on the minor to Drozg, and 4:21 left in our second period. Nailers finishing off a 3-3, but they have a fourth one Tuesday morning at 10:45 against the Cyclones. We'll hear from Fort Wayne forward A.J. Jenks during the second intermission, who I think is positioned just below the Outback Steakhouse broadcast booth as we speak. Christopher Brown and Cam Brown. Hey, what a penalty-killing pair you got there. Far side goes just out of Minerva's reach. Brown make that Cam, trying to make a play out of the corner. And it's scraped free by Gottlieb. That does it for the Drozg minor. So the Nailers, one of the good bright spots this game, the 2-for-2 work on the PK. Now they've got to work to get some more going on the offensive side, trying to erase this 5-3 deficit. Puck strung around near side. Krastenberg's trying to fight through Gottlieb to get there. He's 1-on-2, waiting for help. Gets a left circle wrist shot off, and a left pad save made by Ferguson. Throws, baseball bats it out of the air. Turning with it in center ice. Eludes one, but not another. Komets take back as they scrum for it in front of the penalty boxes. Duquette, the former Comet, angles it down the boards on his backhand. Back to play there is Gottlieb. Nailers swipe it free. They give it out to the point. Duquette crisscrossing. Wrist shot blocked. Throws, can't find the rebound. Komets clear it. Does it have enough for icing? Yes, it does, as Heath gets back there in time with 3:11 left to go in period number 2. And a 5-3 score for Fort Wayne. Draw coming up to Ferguson's left. He was very close to getting the second one by Drozg, which would have been a ridiculous save, but luckily it crossed the line in time. And then the third one ruled a good goal, as even though the puck entered the goal after the net came off, it was knocked off by a Comet diving back. Far side corner, Scarfo along the goal line, angles it. Johnson with a partially open net, but getting back to make the block with the stick was Brad Morrison. Trying to chip ahead for Brad Ross. Nailers still control. Hedano, left circle, high in the zone. Johnson, one-timer, blocked away. Morrison springing forward, not quite behind the D, as getting back with the mighty tip away was Siebenthaler. Johnson winds things up to Siebenthaler on his right, speeding forward. Powell trying to cut through the D, rolls in on goal. Ferguson splats it aside. Powell up to the point. Siebenthaler put it in his skates and then has to elevate it up over top of the net. Near side corner, Scarfo rims it out for Johnson. Left point shot. Blocker save made by Ferguson as he leaped to get that one. Komets air it down towards Wheeling territory. Takes a twist and a turn, and it goes down for icing with 2:20 left to go in period number 2. And this 5-3 score with the face-off coming back into Fort Wayne defensive territory. These Batman jerseys, I'll tell you who would have absolutely killed to have worn these in his Nailer days. Why, the D-Knight himself, Chaz Johnson. Here from 2013 to 2015, the great number 98. Penalty coming up to the Komets. Nailers having the offensive zone. Chiseled in deep by Duquette along the back wall. Christopher Brown escaping left side out to the point. Cam Brown to Christopher Brown. One-timer save Ferguson through traffic. Puck touched up by Haas with exactly 2 minutes left in the period. It's a slash on Jacob Reichert. And it comes at 18 minutes. as the Nailers plug in an AEP power play. Draw coming up to Ferguson's left. Nailers are 16th in the ECHL on the man advantage. Fort Wayne, 23rd. Johnson, right point, has the pass blocked by Brad Ross, and he sauces it into the near side corner. Johnson, first one back, being watched by St-Amant. Johnson starts it ahead, left side for Cam Brown. Hustles over the offensive blue line. Johnson tangling with St-Amant as he bloops it through neutral ice and down to Dorio in the right side circle. Throws, winding his way back behind the net. Comes out on the left side as he trucks it through with a lot of speed. The 20-year-old with 2 goals for the Nailers. Both teams have a 2-goal guy right now. At the right point, it's Cam Brown. Down to Krastenbergs. Back through Brown, and Johnson has to play in center. Nailers wait to re-enter. Krastenbergs hesitates. Johnson at his own blue line, backing all the way up inside his own territory. Now slings it ahead. Christopher Brown for Cam Brown. Right side, Krastenbergs going to net. Pass blocked, and it's circled ahead by the Komets, trying to break for Haas, but the pass from Baylis was snatched out of the air by Cam Brown. Johnson on the left side. Under a minute to go in the power play and in the period. Nailers down 5-3 in the second. Powell winds things up, starts out right side, home run pass to Scarfo, blocked by Gallipo. Komets angle it back toward the Wheeling Blue. Johnson takes on the left side, hesitates, looking to start things up with 30 on the clock. Hawkins rolls ahead on the right side, in at the circle, goes behind the net, whistles a pass around. Hedano at the left point, slings it back down for Hawkins. He's tied up by Martin. They shove for the puck in the near side corner. Scarfo drags it free around the back of the goal with 10 on the clock. Scarfo, right side Butcher, one-touch pass to the point. It's Edano on the left side, down to Hawkins. Fans want a shot. Nailers have it, far boards. Powell has it blocked by Baylis. And that ends the period. So we're right back to where we were after one, as the Komets have a 2-goal advantage. It's now 5-3. Coming up, intermission coverage. We'll recap that 4-goal second period for the two teams, chat with forward A.J. Jenks of the Fort Wayne Komets, and give you the out-of-town scoreboard. This is the Nailers Broadcast Network. periods complete here at Westbanco Arena. Nailers trailing the Komets 5-3. As the Nailers will have to have a couple of goals in the third period to try and turn this one around. It's been a high-scoring game. Both of the first two periods have seen 4 goals. 3-1 Komets after 1. After Droz made it 1-0, Łyszczarczyk, Morrison, and Baylis go 3-1. And early in the second, the Komets make it a 4-1 score. St-Amant with the first of his 2 goals in this contest, as he slithered from the left of the ice into the middle and ripped it low on the right side. St-Amant getting his 6th goal of the season, assisted by Łyszczarczyk at 2:18, 4-1 for the Komets. Nailers come back in, pull within 2 first, off of a shot by Renars Krastenbergs. Jan Droz go one-timer from the left side and just able to get it in over the goal line past the outstretched stick of goaltender Dylan Ferguson. Droz gets 2nd of the game and 8th of the season, assisted by Renars Krastenbergs and Cam Brown at 6:37. A little after that, a controversial goal, but it stands for the Nailers, and it's Nick Minerva as the puck came to him on the right side, and diving back on the play was a Fort Wayne defender, knocking the right post off, but even though the puck did not go in before the goal got knocked off, I don't have the rule number in the ECHL, but the same rule applies as in the National Hockey League. So Blaze May, who tweeted in at me, I'm sorry, but this is how this one's going to roll as it reads in the NHL. And like I said, I don't have the exact number in the ECHL, but in the event that the goalpost is displaced either deliberately or accidentally by a defending player prior to the puck crossing the goal line, which was the case here, between the normal position of the goalpost, the referee may award a goal. And that's exactly what he did there. So that's why that goal stood for the Nailers in the second period. Power plays, Nailers are 0 for 1. Komets are 0 for 2. Shots on goal in the second were 13 for Wheeling and 9 for Fort Wayne, 24-24 overall. AJ Jenks of the Komets talks to me next for our intermission interview on the Nailers Broadcast Network. For tonight's profile segment, we'll get a chance to meet one of the members of the opposition. He's been playing against the Nailers for years, and now he's a member of the Fort Wayne Komets. It's forward A.J. Jenks. And A.J., a very interesting summer for you as you go from being a Toledo Walleye for quite a few seasons to their arch rival, the Fort Wayne Komets. So first off, how did that all develop?
It was something I didn't really see coming, but it just ended up unfolding that way, and Fort Wayne was, one of the handful of teams that I had talked to after knowing I wasn't going to be going back to Toledo, and it was a really appealing option to me, and it's been a great fit so far. I'm really happy to be here.
Pro hockey, there's tons of movement that happens, so I assume you're very used to playing against former teammates, but what was it like for you the first time you stepped back in a Huntington Center wearing the opposition colors?
It was strange, man. It was really tough to put into words. Sitting on the opposite side of the ice, man, going into the visiting dressing room, it was all really strange, but at the same time, it was a cool experience, and the fans there really made it special for me. They really they made me feel pretty good about it.
As we continue to turn the clock back in your career, you got to Toledo after playing a couple seasons in Florida, and that was a Toledo team that you had gone to that had finished dead last in the Eastern Conference the year before, and then completely turned things around, had, maybe a culture change, and you guys were consistently a division champion year after year. I know it's hard to speak for the team before you got there, but what did you notice really kind of helped put that team together and create the magic that it had from 2014 until even now?
Man, there's a whole lot that went into it. I think the coach that took over, Derek Lalone, who's with Tampa Bay Lightning now, he did an unbelievable job of recruiting high-character guys and just making sure that everybody was on the same page and, really pushing the whole team agenda. And, it's something you don't see a whole terrible amount of in the minor leagues, being, everybody's teammates, but they're also competing against each other because everybody wants to move up. And he just did a great job of blending those aspects of our league and making it into a really fun environment and really competitive environment that made it easy to succeed in.
One of the interesting things that I noticed about that team is you had all those division championships, but it was the year that you finished in second place was the year that the Walleye went to the finals. Of course, that was last year with Newfoundland. Is there something to be said about a team being built differently, that whole built for the playoffs versus built for the regular season, maybe something that worked differently last year in your favor?
It's tough to say. I do believe that there is a difference in a team that's going to be really successful in the regular season and a team that's successful in the playoffs. It's unfortunate, but the game isn't really called the same way in the playoffs. It's a bit of a different game, and you have to take a different approach to those games. And I think you saw that when Cincinnati kind of ran roughshod all over the league all year long and then ended up losing in 5 games in the second round of the playoffs. So it just kind of goes to show that it's not exactly the same game that you might find a whole lot of success with in the regular season once the playoffs start.
Is there anything that's really opened your eyes over the course of your career? You've been a pro for 10 years now. Maybe something you approach differently as a veteran compared to when you first started as a rookie in the American League?
There's been so much that's changed, and it changes every day. The game in general, especially at the higher levels, and it filters down here. And it's a whole lot of fun to be a part of, and I'm glad to be able to still be doing it.
With this Fort Wayne Komet team, you guys are off to a nice start. You have the most goals scored in the ECHL right now. What do you like about your team this season, and what do you think can make you guys a real dominant threat, both throughout the regular season and in the playoffs?
Well, like you said, we're scoring a lot of goals right now. We have a ton of high-end talent on our roster for sure, so that's something we're going to be leaning on a lot. In addition to that, I think we have strong special teams play. We had a rough start penalty killing in terms of statistics at the beginning of the year, but we're starting to rectify that a bit here. And we have just a great group of people in there that, they love coming to work. We have a great time at the rink, and, we love playing for each other. So I think that's a really good recipe to have success throughout the season and hopefully in the playoffs.
One of your really cool life experiences is now the 10-year anniversary. I bet you probably can't believe it's been that long, but you won a gold medal in the World Junior Championship playing for Team USA, one of the most epic gold medal games. John Carlson, the overtime winner. First off, what was it like to represent your country and play in a tournament like that?
Oh, man, that was the most surreal thing for me. That was such an amazing honor. Playing for your country at any level is it's something truly special that I struggle to put into words, but that's something I'll never forget, and I still get chills sitting here talking about it.
The gold medal game, they came back, they tied it, you guys go to overtime. What was that like to experience, and then when you saw the puck go into the net and win a gold medal on Canada's ice?
Oh. Man, that was the ultimate roller coaster of emotions. Going, being pretty high, having them come back, and not to mention, they did the same thing the year prior. Team Canada did, coming back and winning the gold medal late. So yeah, that stuff's in the back of your mind, but you learn a lot from situations like that, and it's something I've been able to carry with me throughout my 10 years as a pro, and hopefully pass on to some of the younger guys too. That's really cool. You've been a very professional player, very fun to watch in the time that you've been in this league. I've enjoyed calling your games, and bummer that you're not in the lineup tonight, but I know we'll see plenty of you throughout this season. AJ, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. Yep, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
AJ Jenks forward to the Fort Wayne Komets, our intermission guest tonight. We'll take a break, come back with out-of-town scores, and third period action next to the Nailers Broadcast Network. Five-3 Fort Wayne after 2. As we look at the Main Street Bank out-of-town scoreboard, Brampton beat Worcester heavily today, 8-3. Atlanta helps out the Central Division by edging Indy 4-3 with a mid-third period goal. Florida blanks Greenville 3-0. South Carolina continues to roll, beating Norfolk 5-2. At the end of the first period, Allen, a 1-0 lead over Idaho. Nailers go from left to right in the third period. Komets right to left. Flip-flop those directions if you're watching along on WTRF, my Ohio Valley. Nailers had pulled within one on goals by Drosk and Minerva in the second, but St-Amant, second of the period and of the game, reestablished a 2-goal cushion for Fort Wayne as the teams have combined for 18 goals in 5 periods against each other, and these are the first 3 of 12 periods that they will play against each other in the next 12 days. Siebenaler, right side of his own end, slings it ahead, tips off a stick, and goes into the Powerball suite in the far side corner as we played just 6 seconds in our third period. Mentioned it a lot, the Nailers playing the first of 11 straight division games, 4 against the Komets, 3 against the Wings, 2 against the Walleye, 1 against the Cyclones, and 1 against the Fuel. Łyszczarczyk kicked out of the center ice circle, and Shaw will take instead against Powell. And now Powell's going to get thrown out. It's very weird seeing guys get thrown out of center ice faceoffs, but Scarfo and Shaw, they behave and they drop the puck. We had the faceoff violation penalty here against the Nailers on Friday night, and Mike Bavis reminded me on the bus yesterday going to Reading that there was actually a face-off violation called in the center circle to start a period last year against Indy when they were here at Westbanco Arena, which was completely just crazy. Siebenaler, far side dump, and usually you see a lot of that in the offensive or defensive zone because of how urgent you are and how close you are to the net. Guys really want to try and get that advantage. Near side corner, Siebenaler trying to get away from Shaw. Far side corner, it's Łyszczarczyk, defended by Johnson. Powell goes in there to lend a helping hand. Johnson drags it free. Middle of the ice, Siebenaler fires it over to Herano on the left side. Nailers were anxious to enter the zone, so they have to peel it back a little bit. Johnson for Duquette, bottom of the right circle, being watched closely by Baylis as he starts to sprint ahead. Gets some speed in the right side. Leaves off for Drosk, who has 2 goals and an assist today for Wheeling. Cycled around the backboards. Trying to kick middle was Cam Brown, but he got bumped into by Brad Ross. And it's caressed out to center by Fort Wayne. Minerva ahead for Drosk on the left side. Crisscrossing his way through neutral ice. Gives off to Brown as they enter the zone. Tries to snap it across for Krastenbergs. And that's knocked free by Gallipo. He gets in. Ooh, yep. It was the leg lift that got him there, as Ross was offside as Gallipo tried to get in. If Gallipo has that back leg down outside the zone, he's okay, but because it got off the ice and the only foot that was in was offside, or the only foot that was on the ice was offside, that's how that materialized. Dump in by Fort Wayne. Comes skittering around near side boards and out to center before being chopped back in by Gottlieb. Heath sets up behind the Wheeling net and zooms it ahead for Scarfo on the left side. Bumping it down far side corner, Gottlieb. First one back there for the Komets as the stick whacked a little bit by Butcher out to center ice. Heath floats it far side. Scarfo looking in for Christopher Brown. Attacked free by Reichert, who bangs it out to center. Heath returns the favor up the far side. Christopher Brown swings his way towards the middle, then dumps it back in wide to the left. Gottlieb chases behind the net for Fort Wayne with 2:20 gone in the third period and a 5-3 Komets lead. Far side, Komets have it deflect off of Johnson. Shaw, backhand roller, ahead for St-Amant. It's got 2, but a right pad save from Dorio says no to 3. Herano back the other way, top of the right circle, working his way down the boards. Hands off Johnson, carrying it deep. Has it behind the net, trying to tuck in a backhander, forced away by Binkley. Binkley knocks Steve down, and he's staying down for the moment, yet the arms also are down. Johnson coming back to join the play. A shot from high by St-Amant, stopped by Dorio. Łyszczarczyk left side, wings it around to the far board. Shaw on the backhand. Johnson in the far side corner. Good to see that he's playing this shift continuously. without that bump getting him too much. Siebenaler to the slot. Hawkins could have shot. Instead, tried to go through the legs to Powell to no avail. Swung around near boards. Hawkins steps up. Right circle wrist shot, and Ferguson squeezes it between the pillows. 3:18 gone in the third period. Nailers trailing at home 5-3. 8 of the next 11 will be in this building before Wheeling flies out to Rapid City for a 3-game set with the Rush. First ever head-to-head meetings between those two clubs. Gallipo working behind the net, pressured away by Cam Brown, out of the right side corner, looking for help from Droz. Behind the net, Petschenig on the backhand, rolled ahead for Baylis, away from traffic, put it into no man's land, hustling onto it, Cam Brown, pokes it into the near side corner, taken behind the net by Baylis, nearly overskated it as Krastenberg grows up the heat a little bit. Krastenberg tries to fight through, far circle, nudged away by Fort Wayne. Baylis over the center red, dumps it near side corner, Minerva with the retrieval. Minerva skating it ahead on the left side, shuffles it in deep behind the net. Ferguson watches it go, while his defenseman Phillips goes back to pick up. Steaming ahead, left side, banks it ahead, looking for Haas, defending the blue line with Siebenaler. Nailers grab free, Butcher on the right side, handles it over center, dumping in deep. Ferguson, the stop behind the net, Scarfo took away, tried to center, but Phillips ran him into the corner. Tie up in the far side corner, Fort Wayne defensive zone. In their visitor purple Joker jerseys, Nailers home in gray in the Batman jerseys. Komets ice it, far side corner, with 4:26 gone in the third, and a 5-3 Komets lead. Doing my best to battle through the weekend. Got a little bit of a cold towards the end of the week, and of course the best medicine for that is to call 3-3, naturally. Draw coming to Ferguson's left. It never happens on the one-game weekends, right? Powell kicked out of the draw, so Hawkins will take instead against Reichert. Denny Urban working this face-off. Nailers win it. Hedano slapper blocked. Comes spinning out and going towards Dorio, who lets it rest aside for Johnson. Working his way up the left side towards center ice. Johnson up the middle, tries to go to the right towards Siebenaler, as the defensemen were leading the rush there. Komets steal. Łyszczarczyk in front of the benches, flicks over. Hawkins puts the body into Baylis, but he's still able to get it off and swivel it deep. Dorio, near side corner pass for Siebenaler. Hedano attacks far side. Hawkins bloops in a backhander. Powell skating onto it. Far side corner. Works on the backhand. Into the slot. Duquette with a wrist shot up over top. Hawkins behind the goal. Slaps a backhander. Nobody home. Łyszczarczyk the steal. Duquette, who has one goal for Wheeling thus far, got that against Kalamazoo. Would have loved to got that one against his former team. Duquette starts things ahead right side. He's the only one on either side who has played on both clubs in his career, and he's done it, of course, this season. Binkley, who's been in Fort Wayne for 4 years, has it angled in by Brad Ross. Touched aside by Dorio for Duquette, far side corner. Slithered off the boards, but Binkley steals. Right point slapper off the backboards. Comes around near side. Baylis worked on by Duquette. Near side corner. Droz dangling away from one. Cam Brown has it snuffed back in by Brad Ross. And the Nailers go to retrieve. Duquette, the no-look, he gave it away. Morrison towards the slot. Just keeping alive at the point was Gallipo. Nearly turned it over down low. Leads to a good stick battle between Duquette and Baylis. And grabbing the loose biscuit is Jan Droz. Peeling it in, far side. Back to defend Gallipo. Jan's stick broke in two as he was trying to smack for the puck. Glove down at the far point. Wrister coming by Heath. Towers in towards the net. And reaching out with the glove is Ferguson. 6:16 gone in the third, 5-3 for the Komets. This is the Nailers Broadcast Network. by a pair, 5-3, with 6:16 gone in our third period. On a Sunday here in downtown Wheeling, Skidalski straightaway one-timer blocked, time for a wrister, that one's blocked. Far side, they'll try a wrister with Heath, tumbles wide, spin around shot, Christopher Brown dumped as he missed for the right. Near side circle, Butcher fighting towards the slot on the backhand, forced to the corner. Out to the point, Heath's gonna try again with a wrister. Blocked in front, swiping at it, Christopher Brown, Brandon Hawkins just tumbles wide. Near side point, Skidalski, it was Butcher, not Hawkins. As Heath quickly regroups at his own zone, giving off for Skidalski on the left side. Scud's got a nice haircut, I was noticing before the game. Taking a little off the top as the Komets clear down for icing with 6:57 gone in the third period. Or as athletic trainer Dan Barker would say, didn't get a haircut, he got all of them cut. In that classic dad joke. Our first-year athletic trainer who works closely along with our 17-year equipment manager Bill Higgins was doing the math on the bus the other night as a slapper by Siebenaller deflects wide. Bill's gonna hit his 1200th regular season game in January, and the puck deflects off, Powell skated in! Komets argue a kick, we'll see. Miles Powell for now makes it a one-goal game with 12:54 left in the third. 5-4, we hope. They're gonna look at this one upstairs. Our second, well, there's not upstairs. They have the iPad, so they look at it on the ice. Second review of the day. First one stood for the Nailers. We'll see what this one does. It was ruled good on the ice, so it has to be distinct to overturn it. I don't think Miles had a very distinct kicking motion. Let's see if we can get it on the replay up top. I don't think so. I think it's the angle. So I think we're good. There's no forward motion really with him moving his right or his left. It looked like it kind of just hit between the two and bounced in. So I think it's gonna stay a good goal. Yep. So Miles Powell picks up goal number 4 on the season on the redirection. And it's a 5-4 score. I'll tell you what though, Ben Boudreau through both reviews has stayed calm, cool, and collected in the Fort Wayne net. But Dylan Ferguson is not so calm or cool or collected as he still tries to argue it from the Fort Wayne crease that it was a kick.
His 4th goal of the season, scored by number 19, Miles Powell. Assisted by number 8, Blake Siebenaller. And number 20, Steve Johnson.
Nailers rush in, Johnson left circle, trickled towards the corner. Hawkins looked to the middle for Powell, just got touched aside. Komets air it end over end. Does it have enough for icing? No, it's gonna fall way short as Johnson goes back to collect. So now 5-4 for Fort Wayne with still a long way to go. Johnson in, left side feed, Herano along the left wing half wall to the top of the circles. Feeds it across, Krastenberg's right circle wrist shot, sliding block by Petschenig. We'll see if the Nailers with Ferguson a little hot under the collar, if they can maybe get him rattled and tie this game. Cam Brown out from behind the goal, jamming at it in the trapezoid. Krastenberg's goes over to lend a helping hand as Brown was being double teamed there. They still jam for it, 2-on-2. How about Jan Droz and Bryson Martin? They're close spectators as well. They continue to battle with the puck pinned against the end boards by Gallipo. Make that Brad Ross. Dug out far side by Droz. high in the zone, left side. He'll back it out to center before it's pumped back in by Minerva. Petschenig behind the net for Fort Wayne. Has throws to contend with. Wiggled off the boards by Gallipo. No icing as Duquette got a piece of it on the tangle with Reichert. Nailers Minerva behind his net. Squirts it out far side. Duquette fans, but he's still able to get possession left side. Lofts it ahead. Glove by Gallipo. Butcher trying to force a steal. Gallipo pins it around. Far side. In comes Morrison on the back end. Rakes it low of the net. Comes around near side. Butcher on the right side, works his way slowly to center. Butcher turning on the wheels as he dumps in around the boards. Far side, Brown crashes in with Phillips. Puck plops into center ice. Scarfo grabs there. Left side, handled ahead. Working with it, Heath, backhand feed. Leading Skidalski in, stops, and then shuffles a backhander deep along the boards. Butcher, far side, bodying in. Scarfo along the far boards. 10:30 to go in the third. 5-4 Fort Wayne. Scarfo grabs free center. Skidalski fan on the doorstep, right side. Komets poke it ahead, trying to speed forward Łyszczarczyk, but Heath gets back there first to slow down the progress. Łyszczarczyk, a drop pass. Pumped towards the net, broken up, but St-Amant takes over and rockets one over top of the net. That's probably the last one you wanted to see with it in that circumstance. Scarfo breaks past one-on-one towards the net. Forced aside, Scarfo, far side, spinning in the corner on the edge of the trapezoid. Worked from behind the net by Fort Wayne. St-Amant picks up on the right side, darts it across looking for Shaw, and Siebenthaler gets back there first on the awry pass for icing on Fort Wayne with 9:54 to go in the third. 5-4 Komets in the lead. The Nailers' fourth goal was Miles Powell. His fourth goal and team-leading 14th point. Blake Siebenthaler, assist 5 in .7. Steve Johnson, assist 2 in .3 at 7:06. Draw to Ferguson's left. Nailers have it. Hedano, back to Siebenthaler, right point shot, save, rebound, Hedano, save, Ferguson. Komets feel some pressure with 3 shots and clear. Icing as Johnson raises the stick, but he's got to get the legs to the face-off dots. I always love how players do that. They try and sell that they're there with the stick, but it's the foot that ultimately determines you getting the icing call. I'm sure they know that, though. This time, they put the D's on their one-time sides, but Fort Wayne possesses the face-off. St-Amant burying in down the left side. Works along the boards. Fought free by Hedano. Ahead comes Hawkins on the right side. Trying to fight through one. Binkley takes away. Flips off the far side boards. Collected by Powell. Back to Johnson on the right side of his own end. Powell now with 16 points in 17 career games against Fort Wayne. This one slipped through the Nailers, and it's icing with 9:16 left to go in the third. And a 5-4 advantage for Fort Wayne. St-Amant second of the game. Right now the difference. Throws has 2 for Wheeling, who's also seen Nick Minerva get his first ECHL goal. Komets off the draw. Martin, left point shot, blocked by Hedano. Whoa! Interference by Martin on Hedano. And the Nailers will go to the AEP power play. Martin stuck out the leg as Hedano was skating by, and it ends up being a trip instead at 10:51. And the Nailers will plug in an AEP power play, looking for the tying goal on their second man advantage of the night. Trying to erase 3-2 goal deficits in this game. And make a wild finish in the wheel. Draw coming up to Ferguson's right. Nailers control it. Johnson to Hedano, right side. Johnson on the left, slap shot, glove save made by Ferguson on the low laser as he snatches it about 6 inches off the ice. Nailers will set up on the power play again. Fort Wayne changing a penalty killer out. Haas goes off. Reichert comes on. Reichert's going to take the face off in the right circle. That's why. Nailers win the draw. Trickles towards the point. Powell around the end boards for Phillips. Far side. Binkley sauces it all the way down. Dorio sets it off on the side. Herano, right side, hands off for Johnson. See, that's something else they should think about on the rule with the penalty, is make the team that takes the penalty put their penalty killers out first. Powell slicing his way through, trying to kick middle. Brad Ross the takeaway, backhands it towards the line. Johnson has it stolen away by Baylis. Getting in, make that shot, left side with the shot, had it deflected wide. Shaw, far side corner, stripped away by Cam Brown. Brown racing ahead with it, gets in on the right side, backhands it around the end boards. And I mentioned that Fort Wayne had to change first anyways because they're the road team, but just another advantage for the home team to be able to see who the penalty killers put out there and how you want to go with the power play, especially with you picking the dot. Krastenberg's in his own end, 46 seconds left on this man advantage. Looked good early, but not as much as we've gone through. Throws again, right side to Duquette at the right point. Far side, Hawkins, one-time drive. Save made by Ferguson. Hawkins has it again, left point. He and Duquette play catch. Hawkins steps up, wrist shot, topples wide. Krastenberg centers for Christopher Brown. That won't go. Duquette on his backhand side, feeds Hawkins. Now Droz, bottom of the right circle, through the slot, and a sprawling save made by Ferguson. That was brilliant. Duquette down to Droz, got her edge of the right circle. Duquette over for Hawkins, top of the left circle. Feeds Krastenbergs at the dot, looking to the slot. Christopher Brown kicking it around. Spills out to Hawkins, trying to drag it middle, and he lost the handle, and Fort Wayne flips it out to end the penalty. Nailers 0 for 2 on the PP. Duquette ahead for Krastenberg, shouldering with Phillips in on the far side. Oh, you hate to see that opportunity go by the boards, and now the Nailers are going to be called for an offensive zone penalty. We can't be doing that. Krastenberg's arguing the call, and it's a rough as he took down his man. 13:08 is the time. And the Nailers go to the Green Acres Power Sports penalty kill. The Nailers turn to Green Acres when they need extra power. That's the one area. Krastenbergs has been terrific for Wheeling to start this season. He has the 2 points tonight, giving him 11 in 9 games. But 14 penalty minutes now. That's 7 minors. That's way too many. And Krasty's not getting in to the rough stuff either. So he's not taking anybody with him. You can't be putting your team shorthanded that much. Linesman goes down on the draw. Komets have in center St-Amant to Gallipo, left side of his own end. Ahead for Łyszczarczyk, sticked at by Butcher. Trying to free up was Cam Brown. So this will take it down to, what, a little under 4 left when he comes out of the box. 15:08, so yeah, 4:52. Trying to wipe in deep was Łyszczarczyk. He's double teamed on the near side. Shaw working back towards the near point. Twirls with it. Tip on goal by Łyszczarczyk. Save Dorio. Łyszczarczyk kicks it in the corner. Spun around far side at the point, St-Amant. Cam Brown putting pressure on. Gallipo, near side circle is Łyszczarczyk to Gallipo, working at the point, feeds it left circle. Shaw has it loop over to St-Amant right side. Gallipo skating the line, wrister into traffic, sails wide, collected off the end boards as it's played by Shaw at the top of the left circle. Wrist shot dented wide. St-Amant far side, halfway through the kill, and a little bit more than that. Siebenaller giving chase, near side corner, protecting, and then striking it all the way down. 44 to go in the kill, 5:35 in regulation time. Nailers trailing Fort Wayne 5-4 at Westbanco Arena. Powell looking to the slot for Scarfo, trying to get the shorthanded magic going. That one won't go. Nailers did score 19 shorthanded last year to set a team record. Near side Gottlieb working his way ahead, gets in on the left side, jams on the brakes, poked at by Powell, trying to work it free. Behind the net it goes. They tie up near side corner. Duquette slings all the way down on the cross corner, clear with 12 until 12 is back on the ice. Gottlieb starting out from his own zone, ahead for Taylor Ross at the Comet offensive zone. Gottlieb looked to carry deeper on the right side, and the play is whistled down for offside against the Komets. And that'll do it on the minor to Krastenbergs. So best power play in the league, no problem for the Wheeling penalty kill, who's going 3 for 3 tonight. Maybe they'll use some momentum off this kill as they've done so often this year, getting those vulnerable minute goals. Cam Brown, one-hand backhander into the zone. Martin picks up left side. Ahead for Haas as it's deflected deep near side corner. Siebenaller, first one back there, touches it around for Johnson, soft backhander. Brown had to play it back into the corner, rolled around far side. Siebenaller deflects off the wall, throws, comes speeding ahead on the right side, in at the circle, looking to goal, tight angle shot. Ferguson the save, knocked the net off behind him, and Brown scores! Cam Brown, a left side shot into the top right corner. Nailers tied at 5 with 4:21 to go in the third. And stop trying to hit your net off. Officials discuss it. This will be the second one that the Komets knocked off defensively, and the play would continue, leading to a Nailers goal. And they're not looking at it. Cam Brown with goal number 5 on the year. 5-5. I don't know if the Nailers have scored a clean one tonight, to be honest with you. Oh, you know what? Droz, 1-0 was.
Scored by number 21, Cam Brown. Assisted by number 22, Jan Drog.
Hawkins out from behind the net to Johnson, straight away, wrist shot, blocker save Ferguson. Droz and Johnson, so Droz has a 4-point game, 2 goals and 2 assists. Komets pedal it through center. Siebenaller going back to Chase, bumping with Shaw in the far side corner. Nailers take it free. Hedano, middle of the ice. Oh no, he gave it away. Taylor Ross, left circle, feeding Shaw. Hop past his stick. Woo, big sigh of relief there for Wheeling. Here comes Hughes up the left side of the ice, steaming his way. Flicks it in, far side corner, then goes off for a change. 3:24 to go in the third. It's 5-5, Wheeling and Fort Wayne. Here comes Taylor Ross charging in. Left circle wrist shot, blocked wide by Skidalski. Pounded off the end boards by the Nailers and Christopher Brown. Scarfo behind the net for Skidalski. Continues to rim around. Heath has to take a Banco bounce, then braces for a check, but still managed to keep control of it. And yes, indeed, another vulnerable minute goal after the Nailers kill off a penalty. It takes them just 31 seconds to light the lamp. That's called momentum swinging. Big time. Skidalski, shouldered in the far side corner. Heath takes away, dribbles it behind his net for Cam Brown off the near side glass. Man, if you're going to get a power play against the Nailers this year, you better score, because they are going to come back right at you and try and score themselves. And they have done such a great job at it. And they did it here as we go down to the wire. 2:31 left in the third. It's 5-5. You better not go anywhere on the Nailers Broadcast Network. .231 to go in the third. Nailers at one point trailed this game by as many as 3 and have come back to tie it at 5. Droz pitches ahead to center. Krastenberg's in front of the benches. Binkley takes back in his own near circle. Off of Taylor Ross. Duquette back to Chase. Ooh, that could have been close to interference on Fort Wayne. Duquette near side. Krastenberg tries to slither through. Martin, a blast from center, goes wide. Far side, Minerva giving chase. Through throws to Cam Brown. Cam on the left side. Flicks it wide of the net. Takes a rebound off the end boards. Cam giving chase. Jamming at it with Petschenig. Hawkins is there too for the Nailers. Batman has come to the rescue to tie this game. Siebenaller on the right side, dangling through, tries to center. Wiped off the doorstep by Bryson Martin. Łyszczarczyk, who got Fort Wayne's first goal, it seems like an eternity ago. Johnson, far side, flips ahead for Hawkins to center. Dangling through is Serrano, up the middle, wrist shot off the post! Oh my gosh! That thing was a seeing eye missile by Yush. Now Hawkins one-timer and that hits the crossbar. Oh my gosh. 3 for $1, let's see. Right circle Powell to the slot. Hawkins backhand turnaround blocked. A post and a crossbar by the Nailers away from 6-5 in the final 2 minutes. Oh my gosh. What are the chances? Back to back. Ding, ding. Oh, wow. Minerva in his own end. Morrison pressuring into the far side corner. They tangle. Less than a minute to go. Nailers air it out to center ice. Christopher Brown skates onto it down the middle. Wrist shot blocked up and out of play. 44.8 seconds to go in the third. And somehow it's 5-5. Either the way to get here or still. This is crazy. The Nailer tying goal was Brown. His 5th. His 3rd point of the day and 14th of the year. Droz, assist 7.15. He has a 4-point day. Johnson, 2 assists in the game, 3 on the year. 4 points for him. Referee and linesman at the scorer's table. They have the iPad out. I think they want to make sure that both Nailer shots, in fact, hit iron and came out. If they come out and point at the center circle, I think Dylan Ferguson might go Yaroslav Halak on us. But I don't think he will in this case. What a crazy, crazy Sunday game. These 3-3s, you never know what on earth is going to happen. Nailers scored first. That really, this is one of those games where people like to talk about the stat of who scores first. That's completely irrelevant because of what's happened since. Fort Wayne scored 4 in a row. Nailers scored 2 to make it 4-3. Komets went 5-3. Nailers went 5-5. Draw to Ferguson's left. Nailers have 2 wins in the last 30 seconds this season. Cody Tomer of the Intelligencer has been here for both of them. He is seated to my left in the Outback Steakhouse broadcast booth. Cody, work your magic. Nailers try and scrape out to center. Throws on the right side. Dinks down the boards. Cam Brown working into the left side corner. Has to go up the wall. Throws on the left side. Winding low. Tried to center for Krastenbergs. Had his stick lifted. Nice defensive play by Phillips of Fort Wayne. Komets dish in. Dorio touches it aside. Johnson takes and starts to rush ahead. Left side, Krastenbergs down the wall towards the corner with time running out on him. So the Nailers come back with 2 in the third to earn a very hard-earned point in this game and send it to extra hockey, tied at 5. So, as Dave Flatley, our public address announcer, explaining for the first time at home, it's 7 minutes now. Still 3-on-3, teams switch ends, so the Nailers go right to left, the Komets go left to right. You flip-flop those if you're watching on the television broadcast. Now, The stat I don't like right now, overtime has stunk for Wheeling. The Nailers are 10-24 in their last 34 games decided 3-on-3. And that includes 0-2 this year. The Komets are 2-1 past regulation, all in the 7-minute period. This is the third overtime game between the teams. They've also had 2 shootouts. Nailers go with Miles Powell, Yushi Hirano, and Steve Johnson. The Komets go with Sean St-Amant, Alan Łyszczarczyk, and Max Gottlieb. Shots 34-30 Wheeling through 3, 10-6 Nailers in the third. By period, Komets 3-2-0, Nailers 1-2-2. Behind his net is Gottlieb. Comes up the middle. On the right side, the drop pass, Łyszczarczyk. He's got speed. And St-Amant's got a ton of skill. Łyszczarczyk winding wide of the net. Good pressure on him by Steve Johnson, who drops him down to his knees. Łyszczarczyk possesses, but back out to center. Johnson's watching him closely. Gottlieb turns on the motor, but Powell's right there with them. Handoff goes to St-Amant, drifting across the zone. Right side, in towards the circle. The drop pass for Gottlieb. Defended to the wall by Powell. Into the near side corner. Those two tangle to the ice. St-Amant keeping possession. Nailers got to watch Łyszczarczyk towards the slot. St-Amant rolls across the blue line. Łyszczarczyk's going to back it up to center. Komets have had possession for the first 55 seconds of this new 7-minute overtime period. Gallipo feeds it over bench side Morrison. Center circle, twisting it. Baylis coming in, down the right wall, make that Shaw, wraparound, backhand, save, Dorio, rebound, punched with the glove on goal by Morrison, and Dorio another save. Hirano escapes Shaw for the most part, rushing in, left side, trying to crisscross middle, fanned on a drop pass, Shaw took away. Yush has been out there the whole time. Cam Brown trying to force a steal. He collides down to the ice with the man. Duquette spills it in front. Cam back in for it. Score! Cam Brown, overtime winner! The pass down low from Duquette goes to the forehand and roofs it on the stick side. Nailers win 6-5 at 1:29 of overtime. What a day in the wheel! Cam Brown, second of the night, gives him a 4-point game. Duquette the assist.
Goal of the evening, scored by number 21, Cam Brown. Assisted by number 2, Marc-Olivier Duquette. Time of the goal, 1 minute, 29.
We're going to keep it here for the Ogden newspapers. 3 stars of the game. Holy cow, that was unreal. The goals that the Nailers got today. Oh, man. And Dylan Ferguson, he didn't completely break it like Halak did a few weeks ago, but he definitely gave the old left post a big old smash as the Nailers come back from multiple goals down and win 6-5 in overtime against the division rival to start this stretch of 11 straight against the Central. Brown and Droz, 4 points each today, both with 2 and 2. For Fort Wayne, St-Amant was good with 2 goals. Nick Minerva, his first pro goal and an assist. Let's see who's star-worthy, besides a lot of players. A tough job for sure.
For the Ogden newspapers, 3 stars of the game. The number 3 star of the game for the Fort Wayne Komets, number 70, St-Amant.
So St-Amant goes
The number
3.
2 star of the game for the Nailers, number 22, Jan Krog.
Jan throws number 2. And Cam Brown, I'm thinking number 1. With the tying in winning goals.
Star of the game for the Nailers, number 21, Cam Brown.
Wow, you talk about a clutch performance by Cam today. Tying in winning goals as Wheeling beats Fort Wayne 6-5 in overtime and gets the first OT win of the season, improving to 6-1 on home ice and getting points 13 and 14 to jump over Indy, who lost to Atlanta and in a sole possession of 4th place in the Central Division. Nailers Overtime Live wraps up this bonkers afternoon at West Banco Arena. So stick around to hear the thoughts on this one. This is the Nailers Broadcast Network.